We are aligned and intentional and embodied women, and we do not waste our time. We do not fuck around. We take care of our energy. We're clear in what we do, and we have direction and purpose and vision. Welcome to the Business for Aligned Women podcast. I'm Honey. I'm a coach working primarily with women and specializing in aligned business, personal transformation, and embodiment. Each week here I'll be sharing business strategy, business advice, tips and tools for you to think more deeply, for you to get more self-aligned, and for you to start your week in the most conscious and intentional way possible. Clarity. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why it's so important. Let's talk about why it is the most common goal or intention that my clients have when seeking coaching with me. Before we get started, I want to start with my recommendation. And this has come up from some advice from a couple of my clients, actually, both me giving it to them and them realizing it on their own. And that is that if you have an idea or a decision that you're trying to make within your business, or even if you're implementing something new, like a new website or a new offer or a new sales page, get to people outside of your industry, outside of your niche, to review it for you and ask them if it makes sense. Ask them if it's clear what you do, what the offer is, who it's for, how to move forward, how to proceed, and especially ask them if there's any language or words that you're using that they don't understand. And pretty much all of my clients, the vast majority of my clients right now are actually doing that with an offer or a web page, or one of my clients has decided that every time she creates something, she's actually going to get someone in her family to just do that and just say, does this actually make sense? Is it clear? And that's going to be really, really beneficial, especially because if you're someone who's creative or spiritual in that wellness realm, I can almost guarantee you're using insider language, which is ostracizing some potential clients and making them feel confused and not good enough to work with you. We all do it. It's a constant thing. I also do it all the time. It's something that we all need to be working on. Before we get started, I wanted to invite you to join my next live mastermind. This is a 5-week group coaching experience. It's a live group coaching and training that will happen for an hour each week for 5 weeks. And it will include lots of homework and projects that you will be set in the week between sessions. It is specifically on magnetic marketing, messaging, and clarity. And this is really a group coaching that is born out of what happens in my one-to-one intensives. A large chunk of what we do in intensives is to get absolutely crystal clear around what your business is, what you do, who it's for, how it works, and how they can progress. What offers do you have? What is your product suite? And get you to a point where you're really clearly able to enunciate and articulate exactly what it is that you do. And it would be surprising, I think, and if you run a business, maybe pause for a second and ask yourself, can I do that? Do I know how to do that? Am I clear with that? But it's surprising how much power and confidence comes from just being able to do that, which we'll talk about today. And we'll also be looking at your ideal target market, your ideal audience, your ideal client. Where are they? Where should you be marketing to them? And that will help you to channel your energy, your time, efforts, and money into the areas that are most beneficial for you, because most people are, creating content in places that it's not going to meet their ideal audience, or it's a really quick shelf life, and it's just a constant waste of time and energy. And we don't want that. And we take care of our energy, we're clear in what we do, and we have direction and purpose and vision, don't we? So let's start acting that way. If you would like to join that mastermind, there are limited spaces. It will be running from the first week in July, and it is billed at $444 Australian dollars. So it's really, really affordable. And there, if you desperately need a payment plan, reach out and we can see what we can do. But I would really love to have you join that offering. It's a really nice way to get started in working with me if you don't feel 100% ready or you're not yet able to invest in one-to-one coaching. And most of the time when I offer these live trainings or masterminds, it gives people so much that they sign up straight away to one-to-one coaching because they just realize how much power and energy is in this kind of work. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out. There will be a link in the show notes to sign up. Let's start talking about clarity and why you need it. So I'm trying to keep this podcast short and bite-sized for you, not take up too much of your precious time. So I'm only going to talk about a few points, but I could probably talk about 2 hours about this, about clarity and why it's important and the flow and effects of having clarity. But I'm going to focus on a few main points for each here. And what happens in your business or just a creative project if you don't have clarity. So you will definitely be spending a lot of time and energy, effort, and potentially money pouring into what you're calling marketing, which might not be behaving or acting in a way that marketing is supposed to. And that's likely to not reach your ideal client, or it will be reaching a lot of people who are really what we term cold, in terms of they don't know about you, they don't know about your offer, they haven't realized that they need you, they've just come across you. So they've just found you on Instagram, they've seen someone shared something of you and they think, maybe I will work with them at some point in time, but they don't need you right now. So that is going to create, that feeling of just burnout and fatigue and, endlessly being on this hamster wheel of creativity and content creation without any real strategy or goals or intentions or drive. Obviously that's going to make you really tired, and it's going to lead to burnout and a lot of frustration. And if you're doing that endlessly, your business will fail. So I hate to sound like a negative Nancy, but you can't be doing that. That's not going to work out for you, okay? So we need to shift that. The second point is what I was talking about earlier, and also what I discussed in last week's episode with referencing one of my current clients. If you don't have really, really crystal clear with what you do, which most of my clients don't, when you speak about what you're doing, when you pitch to other people, when other people ask you about it, when you create content, there's going to be this kind of underlying invisible energy of you not being sure, you being unsure. When that exists, it looks and it's translated as immature and unprofessional, and it means that people can't trust you. When people can trust you, it's almost like an additional sales technique without you needing to sell anything. But if you're coming across unsure, or worse yet, confused, people are going to find it really difficult to trust you. They might relate to you, they might follow, they might comment, but they're not going to trust you enough to invest financially or time-wise. I feel like in saying that, I can feel in my chest and my heart space 20 women that I've either done a little bit of work with, or they're kind of in my community, and that's where they're at, and they know that, and hearing that out loud is probably going to click a few things into place as to why they might be having success on social media and no success in sales. When you speak in a way that looks unprofessional or unsure, it also means that the people around you are not taking your business seriously, and that can have a flow-on effect to boundaries and the amount of energy and time that you have access to in your business. That's getting a little bit deep and a little bit woo-woo, but I see it all the time. The women that I work with whose business they treat like a hobby, they approach it like a vanity project. They don't approach it as if they were working for someone else. No one in their life respects their boundaries, which has a flow-on effect to how much they can work. So I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but it's a big freaking rabbit hole, and for women it's really, really important. So I do want to be realistic, and I'm not trying to be negative here, but women have to be forceful with how much they take things seriously in terms of business. There will be people who won't believe you literally just because you're a woman. So the more confident you can be, the more likely that you're going to be taken seriously. Another thing about clarity and the way that you communicate your business is what I call insider language. And this is basically where what I was talking about at the start of the episode, where you're using words and terms and phrases that are really clear to you, but not clear to someone who might need your services. So I see this a lot in psychologists, therapists, counselors that I work with. I actually work with a lot of them, and they will use big terms and terms around like nervous system or even the tools that they use. And I'm pretty into that stuff. I think I'm pretty aware, I'm pretty educated. I'm definitely more educated than your average Joe. And yet I was chatting with a client the other day who's a therapist, and I was like, you know what? I don't 100% know what somatic means. Like I kind of think I do, but I'm not confident in knowing what that actually means. And if I'm not confident and your ideal client is average Joe, he sure as shit does not know what that means. So if you're using that term, they're going, there can be, you can kind of go one of two ways. It can go, this person's too smart for me, they're too far advanced, I can't work with them because, we don't speak the same language. Or a kind of another intricate rabbit hole that I've thought about is this concept of word salad, which is spoken about a lot in cults. And it can mean that people might see your work and they might go, oh, I have no idea what she's saying. That means I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. And I obviously need this person's help. So I'm, going to sign up to work with them and hope that they can fix me and solve all of my self-esteem issues. And if someone signs up with you because of that, they are going to be difficult clients. They're not going to be easy to work with. So there's kind of two things to think about, and having lack of clarity or, in terms of language, being simple enough for most people to understand it can really be a bit of a cock block to your sales. You will be also, if you don't have clarity in what you're doing, what problem you solve, what your point of difference is, who you do it for, how you do it, where you market, and how you speak to them, you're going to be grabbing and grasping for quick fixes and hacks. You're going to be, I've had lots of clients talk about how, I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but on your Instagram, sometimes there'll be like a random ad for someone who just has this $30, like a million templates package. And the clients who don't have clarity are the ones who will get sucked into that and will buy that. And don't ever buy those. They're literally junk, and none of them are worthwhile. And so if you don't have clarity and you're not feeling really certain about what you're doing, you're going to be really grabbing for those quick fixes and those hacks. And especially if you're someone who has a particular practice, so maybe you're a naturopath or you're a therapist or you're some kind of practitioner, you will succumb to every new certificate and every new training that is advertised to you, because you don't realize that the problem isn't your knowledge. The problem is, that your business is basically made of jelly, and it's flimsy. It has no foundations, and therefore that lack of structure is making you feel like you're not enough. All right. On the opposing side of things, with these points, when you have clarity, you will go into your work week or your work day, and you will know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You will know exactly how your time is meant to be being spent, and every single one of those tasks is going to be directed at growing your business or moving the needle. Of course, we all waste time, we all procrastinate, we all, stuff around on social media. But if you're unclear, you're going to have your time sucked into things that do nothing long term. When you're able to really clearly articulate what you do, who, how, why, to what impact, to what end, not only will you be really clear and easy to understand so that you come across as trustworthy and confident, and people are able to position you in the energy of an expert, someone who's really powerful and that they can invest in. As I said before, that's you selling without you having to sell. That's naturally going to sell, and it's also going to make people feel good when they interact with your work. Lastly, you won't be worrying about any of those hacks or quick fixes or next training, next certificate. Oh, if I just add this to my list of studies on my about page, then everything will be fine. You won't be doing any of that absolute bullcrap. You will have tunnel vision on your goals, and you'll have actually researched enough to know what you need. And therefore you will not be able to be distracted in that way. And lo and behold, that will save you money. That will save you money, that will save you time, and that will help you to make more money. You'll have specific goals, so you'll know that those specific goals are what's going to benefit your business, and you'll be moving towards those, not letting yourself get distracted and jumping on the next best thing every time it pops up on your feed. So when we think about those things, I ask you, which would you prefer? Would you prefer without clarity or with clarity? I think that a lot of people, a lot of my clients actually come to me knowing that they need clarity and that clarity is the problem. I think there are a lot of people out there who, I chat with in my DMs who haven't committed or prioritized coaching, and they're not even aware that the problem is their lack of clarity. But it is absolutely important. And obviously having clarity actually means you deciding a few things and you committing and you dedicating yourself to a few particular things. When we come up with our business plans in one-to-one coaching, we do a bit of a brain dump under each of these sections, and then we break it down and we summarize into a list, and then it gets to a point where I say to them, pick three things that you work with, 3 things that you focus on, 3 things that you do well. And it's really hard and scary, but man, oh man, does it feel good. And man, oh man, does it help them create content that makes sense, content that actually sells. It's just so incredibly important. So I hope that this has made you think a little bit, and I am sending out an email with journaling prompts for clarity in your business and in your creative project. So if you'd like to receive that, head to the show notes and sign up. Otherwise, a magnetic marketing clarity and messaging mastermind is coming up in July, and I would absolutely love to help you get really crystalline and feeling really empowered and confident in everything that you are offering. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I know you're busy and you don't know how much I appreciate and value your time and your energy spending it with me each week. If you have a moment, hit follow if you're not already following. This is a really simple way to help get the podcast out, and also just make sure that you get that episode every single Monday morning, 7 a.m. Sydney time, so that you can start your week in the best way possible. If you haven't left a 5-star review, please do screenshot it, send that to me as a DM, and you'll go in the running each month to win a little something. I'm giving away my workshop, my embodiment tools, and I'm going to be giving away a 30-minute one-to-one coaching call soon. So if you haven't done that, please make sure to do that to go into the draw. Share this episode with anyone who you think might find it supportive and helpful. If you've found it really helpful, please post your stories and tag me so that I can share with my own community. Follow everywhere at Honey Bashan Coaching or honeybashan.com, and you can also subscribe to receive direct emails from me in the show notes. And those emails are everything from, every second week I'll send you a little embodiment tool or a little bit of journaling, and also that's where you get my seasonal musings emails that everyone absolutely loves, and also any exclusive offers. There is always discounts in the show notes, so check out the show notes to see what goodies you can get. I'll see you next week.